Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining today's episode of the Bookers Alliance podcast. We're back in the saddle. We're at it. We took a week off. Feels foreign in here in the studio a little bit, don't it?
I mean, it ain't even welcome in today. It's welcome back, right? Start off with, welcome back, because we had to take a week off. I mean, we had a co-host birthday last week, and sometimes the party just carries over and the recording stuff just don't come out.
What do they say? Work hard, play harder?
That's how it is. I mean, we had all our sponsorships. I think we sucked out all our sponsorships last week, so we had to go deep in the case for the sponsor this week.
Yeah, we definitely had to consult the cabinet. We definitely had to. But it's good to be back in the saddle. Good to be back at it. We got a lot to talk about today. A lot has transpired in these past 2 weeks. Won't be able to fit it all in today, but we'll get you the better part of it. But topic today is, what would you do?
What would you do? And that's what I'm talking. So, like, if I'm Dom Mysterio, what would I do?
yeah, it didn't take long to get there, did it?
So, let's be honest. The first thing I would do if I was him is I would cut off the USA subscription to the house. Whatever TV service we're using in the house that gets USA, we ain't got that service no more.
She don't need to see that no more.
Hell no, we're on basic cable. We got Rabbit Ears up. We got 2, 5, 7, and 9. Those are all the channels we watching.
Yep.
Be damned if we got USA airing between 9 and 11 o'clock on Monday night.
Yeah, so as we have in the previous weeks, we're going to go ahead and take a nod to our sponsor and pour one out for Dom's marriage.
Yeah, that thing is on. I'll take mine on the rocks, because that's where his marriage is. So, yeah, I'll take mine on the rocks, because his marriage is right there with him. Because, Lord, I'm telling you, unless she was already in the business, and completely understands this process, there ain't no way a 6-7 month old wife is looking at this saying, "Yeah, okay, this is just acting. This is okay." And she ain't saying that. There ain't no way in it. Did you see how that girl grabbed that boy's hips?
So oh my God. Let's show some love to our sponsor first, and let's talk about that segment. So, sponsor today, Russell's Reserve 10 years. This is some good Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey from the makers of Wild Turkey. So if you guys haven't had Russell's Reserve, it's a little bit of a more special blend that they put out. So let's take a cheers, sir. We're pouring one out for Dom's marriage, and happy 4th of July.
Absolutely. Happy Independence Day. Independence from marriage, independence from all freedoms. And you said age 10 years?
Yep.
Oh, that works. About 9.5 years age longer than Dom's marriage.
Good old Kentucky hug.
Nice. Okay.
Good stuff. Let's talk about that scene for a minute, though. You're talking about
that scene.
Let's talk about that for a minute. As a Batman aficionado,
okay, Do
you know where that scene came from?
Yeah, so Liv posted it on her Twix earlier today with Batman and Catwoman. Although she's way more Harley Quinn and Dom's way more Joker than he is damn Batman and Catwoman. But okay, I get the reference, but damn.
Yeah, she let's just say she pulled that brother in close.
Yeah, I mean, and kept him there. Like, kept him there. If I'm Ray, if I'm Dom's dad, and I'm standing there looking, I'm like, when we get behind the curtain, I'm like, hey boy,
and be sitting in there like Ric Flair with a tear in my eye.
There you go. I'm like, hey boy, you all right with me?
You all right, boy?
Just keep it moving, because good God Almighty, and the caption that was on, or one of the captions or comments that was under it was like pure eye contact. I mean, Liv didn't even break eye contact. Nope. Either that girl's a good damn actress or that damn marriage is on these rocks. One of the two, because my God, if she'd have looked at me like that, oh yeah, I'd risked it all.
Sponsored by Blue Chew.
Absolutely. Blue Chew let you know, take one before every match. By about time your match is over, good to go.
Good to go. Whew. Yeah, that whole storyline keeps getting twists and turns, and Oh, the carnage we will see when mommy comes back.
Oh my goodness. Although congratulations to mommy, you know, apparently she tied some knots this weekend.
Absolutely.
Not just the marital knot. I'm pretty sure with her style that she tied some
more knots.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how the honeymoon went down, but we won't.
There's more than 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, we're not going to delve into that, you know, but just a little speculation there.
Yeah, but congratulations. Let's also talk about congratulations here real quick to Mr. Swerve.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
You know, on a successful defense of his AEW championship. And good on Will Ospreay. What a fantastic match they had. The rumor mill has swirled around on why that match.
Swerved around.
Yeah, swerved around. Swerve when I drive.
There you go.
Here we go.
All right.
But
we ain't on YouTube yet, so y'all can't see me do the dance, so I'm going to save it.
As far as how that match came about, it seems that Ospreay had asked for that match. And they're saying that he asked for that match because he believed that everybody was thinking that, oh, well, that match is going to happen at All In Wembley. And it seems like he wanted the perception to be, no. Let's have that match now. Because there should
get it out of the way, you know.
Well, there should be nobody that is beneath facing the champ and taking.
You don't want to overshadow the champion. I mean, let's be honest. WWE's staring down that problem right now over on the other channel where they may be outshining the. You know, Cody's title may or may not even be the main event this weekend. It's wrapped up in a 6-man tag where you got a whole lot of other action going on. So. You know, you don't want to back yourself into a corner. And good on Will Ospreay to pay attention and notice that. You know, he's going to be basically in his backyard in Wembley, right?
Right.
If he's not wrestling for the title, he's going to overshadow everybody else on the card no matter what they put him in. So good on him to say, hey, until, you know, so we don't back ourselves into or paint ourselves into a corner where the fans make us make this match happen.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and get it out of the way now. Let's get it done. Let's give the fans enough that they'll be over it by the time we get to August.
And what a fantastic match that it was. Had a little bit of a wonky ending. I'm about had it with this whole...
In AEW, a wonky ending? No.
Yeah, I've about had my fill of this whole Don Callis family coming down and interfering at the end of Will's matches. I get it. I get the story that they're trying to tell. To me, unfortunately, it's taking away from the other story that Will is trying to tell.
Yeah.
The fact that he's a damn good wrestler inside that ring.
But, I mean, you got to find a way to protect, you know, and as you just said, you had to have the match now so it didn't send a negative cast over the Wembley show.
Right.
The problem is with having that match now is unless you're ready to flip the title, you got to do something wonky to get out of it, right? I mean, you know, you don't want Will Ospreay to take a pin, you know, going into Wembley. I mean, God, that would be a nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
The alternative is if you're not ready to put the title on him, you don't want to take the title off Swerve, what the hell, you know? So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't on that one. This is going to be one I'm not going to hold against Tony Khan and their booking because they were just backed into a corner. It was just a bad setup.
And in the ending, the very, very ending after the bell had rang and the very, very ending of the match, Will and Swerve have some history. This is not the first time that they've tangoed. And as far as how it ended and how they walked away, Ospreay was kind of sitting on the match. Will walked over to, Swerve walked over to him, gave him the nod, shook his hand. There's a mutual respect there between the two. At the end of the day, are we going to see part 2, maybe part 3 come out of this? Absolutely.
Well, right now they don't really have anybody. I mean, Swerve's not any other kind of story or anything where he's got something else going on. So it'd be a good time to have that.
There was some daggers that were kind of floating around the air, so to speak, as that match was wrapping up. You saw Daniel Garcia sitting in the crowd. You saw MJF watching on from backstage. So yeah, there were some things that were kind of swirling around. Could there be some other avenues happening there? Yeah, absolutely. Could it wind up being MJF versus Will? Could it wind up be Daniel Garcia versus Swerve?
Yeah, you got a lot of moving pieces in there. So upside for AEW, it ain't a bad problem to have. It's just with that booking committee, or I guess that would be Tony, it's just a bad problem for him because he'll probably find a way to bungle what he's got in front of him.
Now, the downside of that, Wasn't really much else on that pay-per-view that was.
So there was something. There was something that I was glad to see.
Okay, what was that?
So I think we already. So who's our sponsor again?
Blue Chew.
Exactly. Boy, when that damn music hit, they said the doctor will see you now. I said, you damn right, she sure will.
So
take me in the office. So let's go.
It will be interesting. Pull back the curtain a little bit. We're recording on the Wednesday here, so it will be interesting to see what happens on Dynamite tonight because Britt.
So we probably won't see it tonight.
Yeah, we won't see it tonight. Yeah,
the behind the scenes
other things that we need to
WrestleMania is coming on, and I'll be damned if I've been waiting 3 months for that. So yeah, I'm geared up for that.
You and every other wrestler.
I am right. I am here for every bit of that. But yeah, sorry, Dynamite. The YouTube's gonna outrank you tonight.
Yeah, we'll see that in the morning.
Yeah, I'll see that tomorrow sometime.
But yeah, Britt's supposed to have a segment on there tonight and kind of tell where her headspace is and why she tried to upstage Mercedes Moné. We all know she's probably coming after that TBS championship. Well, that's great. What did I text you?
Yeah. What we just say about painting yourself into a corner?
Yep.
You're painting yourself into a damn corner right there because, let's see, Mercedes is what, 3 matches in?
Yep.
So what's the chance? And apparently she has her own creative control. Mm-hmm. So what's the chances she's dropping the belt in at Wembley?
Yeah, that don't work for me, brother.
All right. Then on the other side, you got the doctor who's been out for what? Almost a year. I think they said she's been out 9 months. September of last year, I think, was her last match or something like that. So she's been gone for practically a year. This is a dream match. And of course, we know Tony Khan loves his dream matches. But, do you want to bring her back after 9 months gone to take a pin?
Now, what you just said, the dream match. Let me tell you.
I've had dreams about both of them women. I mean, I've had matches with them together 2-on-1. I've had matches on them 1-on-1 and one interferes.
Let me tell you the nightmare scenario that we could be.
Ain't no nightmare with them two girls. I mean,
finger poke of doom.
So the fact that I'm still talking about Mercedes and the doctor, then you bring up finger poking, I'm like, what? Where's this going?
No.
Where the hell is this going?
I'm talking about Hogan Nash.
Neither one of them invoke any thought with me about fingers.
I'm just wondering.
But back to Mercedes and the doctor, boy, man, I can finger poke them to death.
I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering if
that was lewd. I'm sorry for our female listeners out there. Damn, that was lewd. It was true, but it was lewd. My bad.
He said it's damn true.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie and say I ain't thinking about it as we speak. But damn, that was lewd.
But as far as I hope they spin this into an angle that's worth something. I don't know if we always cite our sources. We don't shy away or hide the fact that we are big Busted Open fans. Bully was cooking Monday morning on Busted Open as far as what he would do with Britt and Mercedes.
I'm sure he was. I'm sure the hell he was.
But as far as everything that he laid out and said, even down to the promos that they could have, I'm here for that if it happens.
Yeah. So it won't because now that he said it, like TK is going to go completely away from it. Yeah, can't do that. I got to be original.
I to go into my VKM voice.
Because of the letters. I mean, you heard TK and you went into VK.
I was going to say, that ain't going to happen no way.
Yeah, no. So Tony Khan's more like, well, guys, I don't know if we are going to do that. We're probably going to have to go a different way, guys. What do you think? I think we're going to go to the left here, guys. What do you say? Hey.
Yeah.
That's probably how it really sounds. And unfortunately, then the Bucks are right there with him. Yeah, buddy, that'll be fun. It'll be freaking awesome. We'll do it. Yeah. And then it'll suck ass. And then we'll all be sitting here like, and then somewhere or another, somebody will say, that ain't good shit. And then I'll say, that don't work for me, brother. And okay, well, our imitations are over. My bad. We digress.
All right, so let's move on.
This is strong liquor.
Let's get back to the WWE for a minute. Let's talk about...
Wait, we're done with Britt and Mercedes already?
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I can't last but this long with them two women anyway. So yeah, come on, let's go. I'd have probably gave all I got.
Producer, you'll have to make sure we check Franco for sponsorships next week.
Oh yeah, I mean Blue Chew, like Trojan X, Magnum. Good Lord, we can get them all in there because my God. Anyway,
all right, so let's talk about the Bloodline and Paul Heyman real quick.
That's a switch.
Let's talk about what happened. First off, we've done it plenty of times on this podcast. I'm going to do it again. Paul Heyman, I got to give you your flowers, sir.
Dude,
that was amazing.
In one 15-minute segment, he elevated the bloodline back to where they were when Roman was around. I mean, at this point now, I'm looking at them as a credible threat to all of WWE like I did when Roman was there. To whereas for the last 3 months, I've been looking at them as jobbers and they're mid-card at best. I mean, but I mean, in one 15-minute instance, Paul gave up his body and put those guys right back in the main event slot.
Think about it this way. I don't remember where I saw it, but when I read it, I thought to myself, that is so very true. The kid who snuck into Madison Square Garden to take pictures. Main evented the Garden.
By far. I mean, he was the biggest star in all of that exchange by far. I mean, it wasn't even close. He made that segment what it was. And like I said, he elevated. And let's be honest, I know you guys know who all the other Bloodline guys are from New Japan and all that. I don't know a damn one of them. I know they're Haku's kids and Rikishi's kids, and that's great because I know Haku and Rikishi. I ain't never seen them other three jokers before. And Solo was definitely the bottom of the rung when it was the original Bloodline, right? So in my eyes, and probably in the majority of the wrestling fans' eyes watching, they're a bunch of mid-card guys. And then they were out there losing. And I mean, Randy Orton and them were kicking their butts every week. They're a bunch of mid-card guys. But Paul Heyman made them the biggest thing in WWE again in one fell swoop.
And let's talk about Paul's commitment to the craft real quick. Homeboy didn't shave.
Nope. He made sure he looked disheveled.
Homeboy didn't dye his hair.
No, he made sure he looked like he was a wreck. Like he hadn't slept in a week.
The lore and rumors about he only slept 1 to 2 hours a night for the 3 nights leading up to SmackDown.
He played that role.
The man in his commitment to what we see on our TVs, amazing. Just sheer out phenomenal. And how that all went down and what we got to see. First off, you saw Solo come out and tell Madison Square Garden, acknowledge me.
Yep. And it's like, wait a minute.
And Paul, the look on Paul's face was like,
he's like, this is blasphemous.
You can't go there. Like, why are you going there?
But they went further.
And then he had each member of the bloodline acknowledge him as the tribal chief. And then when he went to Paul, he handed Paul the Ulafala. And when he handed that to Paul, Paul was like, you shouldn't even be touching these.
Paul said, this is just over the edge for me. He said, there's no way.
It was just his facial expressions alone were amazing. And then when he had him in his hand and he looked at Solo, and the first thing he said was, I love you. And then he said, but you are not my tribal chief.
I mean, so Paul knew. He knew when that started. When they came to him, he knew he was going to take a bullet. Paul knew. He said, if I don't say what this man wants me to say right now, they're going to take me out. He knew it.
He knew.
But Paul was so dedicated to his tribal chief, he just took the bullet for him. He took that bullet for him and said, I'm just not going to betray my tribal chief. And in the interim of it, he did something that he's never done not one single time in his whole career. Turned face.
He turned face.
Paul turned face. And took Roman with him. Damned if he didn't take Roman on that roller coaster. Because, I mean, the fans have been calling for Roman for a month, right? That's just because Bloodline 2.0 is trash.
Right.
So they just wanted Roman back because they were like, God, if we got to sit through this, at least let's make it fun, right? But with Paul taking that bullet, now he's sympathetic. Paul Heyman, Paul E. Dangerously is a sympathetic babyface. Who in the hell thought we'd be saying that phrase out loud?
But I love how this all began anyway, because it wasn't even the Raw after Mania. It was the press conference after Mania. Where this all started with Cody saying, look, you got to give Roman his props.
Right. He started putting Roman over.
Triple H started putting Roman over. And I mean, it was
planting seeds.
It was planting seeds, and along the way, and then the organic movement started, the We Want Roman chant started, and then Paul just tipped it over the edge.
He watered it. He watered that seed just enough that it was ready to pick. Because I mean, like you said, it wasn't the Raw after Mania because Roman wasn't even on that.
No.
Roman we haven't seen hide nor hair Roman since we saw his shoulders taking that 3. And in the meanwhile of that, somehow or another, the fans found a love for him. It's like what they always say: you don't know what you got till it's gone. When we ain't had Roman for like 4 months and we don't know when he's coming back, everybody's like, "Wait a minute, we miss Roman." Now, when we had him and we didn't know when he was going to show up. It's like, he's got to defend the title more. Where is he, Roman? Right. He don't care about the fans, blah, blah, blah. Now he's gone, and we don't know when he's coming back, and everybody's shitting themselves. They're like, wait a minute. No Roman or SummerSlam's coming. What are we doing? I got Peacock's already got my money. I bought a year subscription. Where's my Roman? Well, hell, so Roman found his way into babyface territory, and then Paul sent him skyrocketing into it now. You know how they say put the rocket up his ass?
Yep.
Paul's the rocket. He was already up Roman's ass, so that makes sense. And now they're on their way to the moon.
It's going to be definitely interesting when we finally see.
Finally.
Oh, when we finally see Roman and Paul show back up together on our screens, the pop is going to be equally as loud as it was when Paul said, "You are not my tribal chief."
They better pick the right venue for it, because
pop.
You don't do that return in Hoboken, New Jersey, or something like that, right?
No,
they need to save that for one of their biggest stages, because the crowd is gonna go, as Gorilla Monsoon used to say, bananas.
You almost couldn't even hear Paul finish that statement.
No, the fans knew it was coming. As soon as Paul paused, they started yelling then, because they were like, "Oh my God, he stood up to Solo." Damn, Paul, that wasn't the smartest thing you could have did, but hey, more power to you for doing it. But that man paid for it. And he paid for it dearly.
Let's move on to another thing that has been happening that we got to talk about, and a little bit of intrigue, a little bit of mysteriousness around this one, the Wyatt Six and where this is all going. We have seen 2 Monday Night Raws in a row where we believe Sister Abigail is the one that has come out to deliver these videotapes, almost like a confessional, if you will, to Michael Cole, and they've been played on air, where you see, and I'm going to honor what I think is happening. I'm not even going to call and refer to him as Bo Dallas. That is Taylor Wyndham.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Taylor Rotunda. That is Taylor Rotunda right there. What you hear talking, that's him, and that is his alter ego, Uncle Howdy.
Well, I think this week we saw them two merge. I think we finally saw that transformation of.
There was wording, though, that you had to just really be paying attention to catch. Taylor said, "I'm the voice of the reckoning." Mm-hmm. Whereas Uncle Howdy said, "I am the reckoning."
Yep.
So you could tell those are the two sides of what we're seeing. I love the avenue that they're taking this down. I hope they introduce us to the other Wyatt Six members in the same fashion.
I'm sure they will, but I'd like it to continue going just like it is. We don't need to see them anymore.
I don't need the whole presentation though from Sister Abigail about a videotape though.
Yeah, they need to find some new ways. They need to
find another method to do that. Yeah, they need to
get a little more creative on that. But maybe that was just their way to get Uncle Howdy out. You know, other characters.
That was a two-part.
Yeah, other characters. You know, if they could find better ways to develop, or just different ways, not necessarily better, but different ways to introduce them, I think, that'll just make the thirst just let the thirst grow. But hey, if we don't see them guys again to Survivor Series, I'm A-okay with that.
As long as they don't try to rush this thing, I think it's going to work.
That's exactly what I'm saying. If we don't physically see them again to Survivor Series, I think that's the way to go.
Yep.
Because, you can hot shot them and throw them out there, Money in the Bank this weekend. But why do we care about the other 4 characters? We know about Bo's background now.
With this story, and I know how today's society is. Everything is instant gratification. Gimme. I want it right now. This needs to be a slow burn, because what you're going to realize is if you get everything right now, you're going to burn through it and then go, well, then what?
Yeah, 3 months from now, you're going to be sitting on your hands like, well, we basically, like I said about Mercedes and Britt a minute, our wad is shot. Now we don't got nothing left. By the time round 2 comes up, people ain't interested no more.
But
gentlemen out there, that is what happens when you do that. So Blue Chew.
That's why you need Blue Chew.
Exactly. We're tagging them in this episode today. If they don't find a way to get us all the sponsors for this, my God, we're prepping their stuff better than like Conrad, Busted Open. They can't do our stuff better.
So with how this is all turning out, where this all leads, we don't know yet. I'm all here for it. I'm in for the long haul. I want to see where this goes. I'm sticking by my method of how I want this to develop. I want them to be psychotic. I want the masks to represent the pain that they wear. Yeah. And we know their MO now. We know what's happening. They are out for people who have turned their backs on their family. And that is...
use themselves for financial gain
and
or personal gain.
And that is quite a few people right now.
Yeah, that spans, right? Yeah. And that's the beauty of it, because And like you said, about listening to Busted Open. So I listened to him yesterday while I was doing my yard work because I'm on vacation this week. I'll let y'all behind the curtain. I ain't doing no work this week, so I'm good for this. But yeah, I listened to him yesterday, and they were just making mention of the fact that, they come out after Chad Gable all the time, right? They're all, Sister Abigail's always physically coming after Chad, but they also only come out during Jey Uso times, right? When they originally introduced, Jey was pumping the crowd up. When they came out the next week, Jey was on an interview in the ring with Chad. When they came out this week, right after a Jey match, right? Jey also has had a lot of family issues. Correct. So, maybe Jey needs a little bit of help to fight his family. Maybe they're here to support. Maybe they don't like what Jey did. Maybe they don't like the fact that Jey was willing to split off from his family. Exactly. Yeah. So maybe he's got to pay for that. So
so we've thought about some other people that could be in there. Dom Mysterio.
Yeah, Dom's got a lot of family issues.
Yep.
And he's using them for familia gain, and he's got a group that can fight 6 Wyatts over there.
Technically, Seth had family issues. He turned his back on the Shield.
Yeah, I guess if you want to call them their brothers, but one of their brothers ain't there to help with it. So I mean, I don't know how that far would go. But I mean, one of Seth's family members just straight up quit.
Yeah,
Seth probably needs to pay for that too. So I mean, if he takes a beat down here and there, that's okay.
I predict another person that we're going to see make a turn here shortly could also be singled out, and that's Finn Balor. Finn is going to turn on the Judgment Day.
I don't know about that. That's an interesting take on it. I think honestly, I see more Damian Priest splitting off, not from this match. Well, obviously, I don't think he's going to lose the title this weekend, but I think there's going to be some interference that he's just not a fan of that may lead him to go away.
Yep.
And when that happens, I mean, somebody's got to step up and take that role. And I mean, you got Lil Liv over there popping around every now and again. I mean, I'll see her having no problem playing any role.
Yeah, I think Liv could be.
I could role play with Liv.
I think Liv could be a target for a returning Alexa Bliss.
That would be fun
because she does have the belt.
That would be fun. Could you imagine them two? I mean, those two could make for a good match. I mean, yeah, I see what your face is going. I wasn't imagining that. I mean, I was actually.
Hey, all I heard was them two.
Yeah, so I'm actually imagining them having a pretty good match. Because they're similar stature, similar size. I feel like they could have a good match.
All right, so let's get on into our topic today. What would you do? So
with Frank, Alexa and Liv?
No.
Lord, I could tell you, but I don't know how much time we got left. That story might last a while.
Producer.
I mean, because if you take the right Blue Chew, you do last a long time. So Blue Chew, you want to last longer?
No. The other top, the actual topic for our show today.
My bad.
So let's talk about what would you do. So Frank, lay the scenario out.
Well, so same thing. I was listening to a different podcast. I think this was the Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson. But they had brought up back when Vince McMahon was giving away his own money on Raw. He said, if you're watching Raw, I'm giving away my own money. Yeah. And, Vince was basically just calling people on live television. And if you were watching, Vince was giving away $1 million. And I mean, yeah, it was a publicity stunt, but I mean, damn, that's a pretty damn good publicity stunt.
Yep.
I'm watching Raw where I'd be watching anyway, and Vince is going to call me direct and tell me, hey, you want to win $1 million, pal? Hell yeah, I want to win $1 million. So, but I just had a different take on it. Like, my thinking was, if Vince called you and said, hey, pal, you want to win $1 million? Are you watching Raw right now? What if you were creative enough and quick enough on the draw to say, you know what, Vince? I'd appreciate $1 million, absolutely. But what if you give me $250,000 of it up front as a 1-year contract to join creative? What the hell would I do if that was to be posed to me? And what do you think Vince would say if somebody was quick on the draw enough to say that to him instead of just saying, yeah, I want $1 million? Hell no, I want somebody, but I also want an opportunity. What do you think a guy like Vince McMahon would say to that?
I'll tell you what he would say. He'd say, well, hell, you can't be no worse than Vince Russo.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, Vince he's had some shitters on that booking committee for a while. So, I mean, he had room over there. So there was always a place.
But I think Vince would actually take you up on that offer.
I do too.
I think he
would. Just because of the publicity alone. I feel like he would look at that and say, wait a minute, because it's happening on live TV. So it ain't like they can mute it. However many people, 2-3 million people that are watching, they just heard you lay that on the table in front of them. Vince isn't going to turn a challenge like that down and say, well, no, pal, we're going to just give you the $1 million and send you back. Vince, I feel like Vince would hear that, and I could almost see his eyes get big like when he saw Stacy Keibler dancing on the table in front of him. I can see Vince saying, oh, my God, do you know how creative that idea is?
Yep.
Hell yeah, I want to do that. Be at my office on Monday morning, to which would me be calling my job today saying, I need a leave of absence. My ass is gone.
I've got an educational leave I need to take.
Absolutely. Or kind of like, what was it, Harlem Nights, where he said, hey, babe, put your mom on the phone. Babe, I ain't coming home. And just hang up the phone. The same difference, right? One of the two things would happen, because for me, I mean, just the prospect of it excited me.
Right.
Because I feel like it would excite somebody like that. And I mean, we talk about it all the time here. We're creative as hell on this show for fun, right?
Yep.
How creative would you be if you could get $1 million for it? I mean, let's be honest.
I'll tell you what I would say, though. I'd pull a Heath Slater. I got kids, man. Give me the $1 million.
That's true. I mean, you got other responsibilities to think of. So
no, for real though. But just to have an opportunity to say that, though, what would I do? Hell yeah, I would take the creative route. Give me $250,000. Let me work creative for a year. If I'm a bust, I'm a bust. It's my fault that I blew $700,000.
Exactly, but you still got $250,000. I mean, that's more than I'm gonna make this year working. I'm gonna be honest with y'all.
Yeah.
I know some of y'all be like, oh, well, how much do these guys make podcasts and all that? We make a grip. Don't get us wrong here, but it ain't $250,000. So either way, I'd feel like I was winning. But just for me, the experience. I mean, just the atmosphere to be in the war room with, the creative team of WWE. So let's say today, in today's world, you got Triple H and his group in there, and what they would create with The Rock. Hell, I'd pay them $1 million to have gotten in those creative rooms and contribute anything.
Absolutely.
Anything.
To be a fly on the wall, we're getting ready to be a fly on the wall.
We are going to be a fly on the wall. That kind of helped with this idea too. It's like, we've never really seen behind the curtain to this extent. We've got peaks here, we've got peaks there. Dirt sheet writers tell you a lot of whatever, but you don't really know what's true. You don't really know what actually happens. Being able to see something like this, it's like, my God, we're going to get all access here.
And I've heard somebody say, do you really want that? I've heard somebody say that. And let me answer that question with this response. Yes, I want that. And here's why. As a lifelong wrestling fan, I don't care how much I know behind the scenes. You can pull that curtain all the way back. I'm still going to be a fan.
Yeah.
And here's why I'm still going to be a fan. I don't care how much of it I know prior to. It's what happens out in that ring.
Yeah.
Because there is still, no matter how much you know, no matter how much it's scripted, no matter how much the boys and girls in that ring get in there before the TV show hits and they go through their matches, there is still an element of authenticity that will never be replaced. You tell me Triple H goes out there and blows a quad. How they finish that match.
How do you fix this?
How do you fix that in the middle when you are running a venue that might be 60, 70, 80,000 strong, and you're in the middle of this ring with millions watching around the world? How do I fix this?
Yep.
So to me, I don't care how much I know about what goes on behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. I will forever be a fan of the product and what I see.
So I'm right there with you. But, of course, somebody's got to be devil's advocate, right? So that's going to be me. So let me pose another point to you and give me your honest response with it. You like fast food?
Yeah.
Do you want to see how it's created before it gets served up to you in your little box in your little brown bag?
Sometimes.
Hell, you don't. No, you don't. But trust me when I tell you, you don't want to see a damn thing behind the scenes of how some of you. I mean, I think you've told me this before about, some of the machines they use in the fast food industry don't necessarily be the cleanest.
Yeah.
Some of the, some of the I think we've all seen commercial or, little TV show where kind of sometimes a burger might hit the floor and they just scoop it up real quick, 3-second rule and throw it back on the grill and say, I'll just grill that off. Sometimes I say that all the time. Like, I don't really want to know what's going on behind the scenes. I just want my damn food in my box and I want it to look halfway decent in it. Because if I knew some of the behind the scenes goings on, I may be like, oh my God, get me as far away from this stuff. You know, I might become vegan if I actually saw the behind the scenes of what happens to some of your food.
For those people that have that mentality, they watch Mondays.
Yep.
They watch Fridays.
Yep.
Maybe they watch Wednesdays. Maybe.
And like you said, they're as superficial as it goes.
That's as far as they go.
If they miss an episode, they're okay.
They're okay. They're not looking for the dirt sheets.
No.
They're not looking for the podcast.
They ain't listening to us.
They ain't listening to us.
Hell no. You damn sure ain't a dedicated fan. You're either a dedicated friend or a damn good friend to be watching, to be listening. So yeah, it ain't the casual fan that's hunting down podcasts.
The people that have been lifelong fans for us grizzled vets here, you know, we've always longed to know the inner workings, because to me, I find a fascination about what happens in the ring.
Yep.
I find a fascination about what happens in the booker's mind.
Yep.
I love the fascination of how does somebody go from the indie circuit to be the status of CM Punk?
Yeah, the main event, the biggest stage, the grandest stage of them all.
And to that point, I saw an interview today with Cody Rhodes on the Pivot podcast.
Okay.
Talking about what is his next goal. Okay. What does he's achieved what he set out to achieve. He finished the story. What is next for Cody Rhodes?
Damn, I'm glad. Maybe I need to watch it because I'm wondering too. What the hell is next for Cody Rhodes?
You know what his answer was?
Oh.
It was on the surface, a very superficial answer.
Ooh, what's that?
He said,
go to work?
He said, I want my numbers to be as equal or supersede Austin and Cena.
So that'll never happen. I mean, unfortunately, I hope that's not his real goal, because that's unachievable.
Is it? Think about the man. Don't think about Cody Rhodes. Think about Cody Runnels. Think about the man.
Okay.
If it's an unachievable goal,
yeah,
how hard is that man going to fight to try to achieve it?
I mean, it damn sure gives him something to work for. Just, unfortunately, he ain't going to get there. I mean, I'm sorry to break it to I know we're selling more pay-per-views than we ever sold before, or at least we're getting more views. I know we're selling a lot of merch and all. He ain't getting over Austin and Cena.
So, as far as those things, about all of that stuff, as a fan, that entices me to watch the product.
Yeah.
But there's more to it for me as a fan. I'm intrigued by the partnerships that Tony Khan has with New Japan, CMLL. Because there's some strategic things that he's doing on that side. Granted, he can't tell a story worth shit.
So there's the downside.
He can't tell a story worth shit. But what they're doing behind the scenes to form all these partnerships, they announced Wrestle Kingdom next year will not be Wrestle Kingdom. It will be Wrestle Dynasty. They're taking Wrestle Kingdom and AEW's pay-per-view Dynasty and putting them together with AEW.
What they should have did was taken AEW's Forbidden Door and put it together with it so they could stop having damn Forbidden Door.
But what they're doing with this pay-per-view, they are doing AEW. They're doing New Japan. They're doing ROH. They're doing CMLL. They're doing Stardom. They're bringing in all of these other conglomerates for one huge show in the Tokyo Dome.
Okay, so let me ask you before we go too far. So that's great and all, but then and you said that's next year, right?
January, yes.
Okay, so that happens next year. What the hell happens next year in June when it's time to have Forbidden Door? Well, we just had Forbidden Door. Are we going to have 2 Forbidden Doors?
We're talking about creative, right?
No, because we're talking about AEW. They know nothing about creative. No. We're talking about dream matches. That's what AEW's talking about.
But we're talking about what would you do?
Oh, if Tony Khan offered me $1 million or $250,000 to go creative, well, I'd take the $1 million because I don't see that creative giving me enough opportunity to gain the other $750,000.
You have a playground that is like none other right now in WWE since the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have a playground on the other side of the field that has never been. It's never been.
Right.
The closest that this playground has come to was Eric Bischoff.
Yeah.
I would love the chance. What would you do? Let me play in that other playground.
So you'd take the $250 and an opportunity over $1 million to go to AEW?
On the other side.
Ooh.
What have you got to lose?
$750,000 because
$750,000. Yeah. Would I pay $750,000 to play in that playground for a year?
For AEW?
Yeah.
See, there's where the break. I wouldn't, solely because at the end of the day, so AEW right now is what WWE was during those bad years of WWE where everybody said, oh, well, we've got a ton of good ideas, but we run them up to Vince and Vince just nixes them and sends them on their way. He don't like it. Vince wants to do this. He wants to make you do drop. He doesn't want you to be Piper Niven. And because he's the final answer, you have to go with that. And that's what AEW is looking at right now because I can't for the life of me believe all those creative minds in AEW just sit and let Tony do whatever he wants and don't suggest nothing.
But what does Bully always say? You have not because you asked not.
Your sister's asses. That's what I say.
You didn't write it into your contract. If you want me to do $250,000, let me come over and run creative.
I didn't know we were running creative. I thought we were just joining creative.
Or help. Well, AEW, you have to run it.
I mean, yeah.
There is no creative.
Yeah, no kid there. Yeah, you definitely got to run it over there. So to run it, that would be different.
To me, Frank, there are stories upon stories upon stories that are there.
Yeah, no, I agree there.
They just get ignored.
So he don't know how to write. I mean, he's not a storyteller.
Correct.
He's a dream matchmaker, which is great because, I mean...
You got to tell that story.
I've heard this analogy given a million times, and I completely resonate with it because Tony Khan is right around our same age, right?
Yep.
When I was a kid, I had all the wrestling figures. You had the wrestling figures,
Still got them.
Right. Your other toys and all that. I mean, your He-Mans, your Thundercats.
Yep.
All of them were wrestlers at some point in time. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was, how many times...
I'm in 2K24. I got Joker, Batman.
There you go. How many times did you have, like, Superman fight Mumbra or, like, have Skeletor fight Lion-O?
Absolutely.
All that nonsense happened, right?
Yeah.
So those were just dream matches that you were looking at like, man, this is the penultimate hero here.
Yep.
The penultimate, and they'll never see each other because those two cartoons don't go together, but they'll see each other tonight because they're meeting in the ring right here on Winchester or wherever you were at the time. But that's matchmaking, right? So I feel like Tony did the same thing. He's richer than me, so he probably had more toys than me, right? So he was able to get more toys and have more dream matches. But at the end of the day, he didn't tell a damn story. Why the hell are the Thundercats on Eternia?
Right.
So therein lies the problem.
You've got to do a better job at weaving.
Well, so that's the thing. He's never had to tell the reason why. In his world, they just landed there. And they're like, oh, well, I landed on this planet, so I'm just going to fight the biggest and baddest guy there. It's like going to jail for Tony Khan. He thinks everything's like Breaking Bad. As soon as you get to jail, you got to pick the biggest and baddest and kick his ass so you can be the top dog. That ain't how storyteller works, right? That worked for that one show. Right. But Tony's never had to write stories for why this stuff happened.
That's why he needs help.
The help's there. And that's the thing. JR's been there. Jake the Snake's been there. Art Anderson's been there. Cody's been there.
Bryan Danielson.
Right. Edge. Those guys are there. I mean, CM Punk was there. Storytelling MFers were there. And somehow none of them got a good story out of it. So the fact of it is, unless, like you just said, you're running creative, I don't think helping on creative does you a damn bit of good. And that's why I said for a portion of my big winnings in AEW, hell no, I'll take the big winnings and go figure out my own thing because I don't see where I could turn the corner in AEW if everything I'm bringing is just getting shot down.
Correct.
It's not like $1 million is a lot of money to Tony Khan, so it's not like he's invested in me. He's more invested in the promotional that he got from bringing the creative guy on and giving him an opportunity.
If you want to know what it really means to Tony Khan, and you really want to know what it means to Warner Brothers Discovery, they will not admit that they've taken a loss yet.
Oh, absolutely not. They want to claim that they're making money hand over fist, but the fact of it is, much like WCW, they got to be losing money.
Oh, yeah.
There ain't no way in hell they're renting a venue and selling out 1,500 tickets and breaking even. That math don't math to me.
The stat I saw the other day, Tony right now is putting out a bill of $170 plus million a year just in talent pay.
Yeah, that's feasible. And speaking of, and like another Tony said, Tony Stark once told who is it? Chris Pratt, who's his character from Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh, Star-Lord?
Yeah, Star-Lord. He told him your math is blowing my mind right now. If AEW's generating money and they're making a profit at the end of the year, that math is blowing my mind. There's no way they're profiting at the end of this year. I don't care how you spin it. like you said, with talent contracts, with venues and all that. If you rent out a venue and you sell 1,500 tickets, ain't no way in hell that's covering the cost of that venue. I don't care what deal you're working out. Unless it's your venue. The only time they may have made money is when they were running solely in the Daly's place because they weren't putting out any
they own
money.
The building Daly's place.
Exactly. They own the building, and I'm assuming they were charging some kind of tickets.
Right.
But other than that, hell, they ain't profited none. And you can spend it all you want, but you're not going to spend it and tell me that without a hefty TV contract, they're profiting. WWE wouldn't even be profiting if they weren't getting these hefty-ass TV contracts that they're getting right now.
Very true.
So the fact of it is, if I take $250,000 for AEW and say, just give me the opportunity and I'm going to wow you so much that you'll keep me on for 3 more years and give me my $1 million, ain't no way in hell that's going to happen, because I could knock Tony Khan's pants off with my wrestling ideas, but if he turns them all down and they never make it to TV, what good am I?
All you got to do is challenge him to a loser leaves town match.
All you got to do is challenge him. I mean, hell, I feel like
look, if Jack Perry can take him out,
exactly, at the slightest challenge. CM Punk and Jack Perry had a fight a mile and a half away from Tony Khan, and Tony still felt like his life was put in danger in that, because 2 men tussled in front of him. So I feel like if I actually stood up to him and challenged him, oh hell, I win automatically. I take the company from him with that. I just tell him either I do like a bully in the schoolyard. You give me this company or I'll beat your ass. And Tony will say, well, the company's yours.
Company's yours.
Just walk away, and I'll be like, well, you leave your checkbook here, but you get the hell out of here. Money. Yeah, hell yeah, I can't run it on my own. That $1 million ain't going that far. You leave your checkbook here, but you get the hell out of here, and you get the hell on with that. And I feel like he'd be getting his ass on. Otherwise, I have to mollywop that ass.
Mollywop.
There you go. All right, it's time to shut her down.
All right,
mollywop it all the way out of here.
So let's. What would you do? I mean, what would you do on either side of the fence? Reach out on our social media platforms. Let us know, what would you do if you were presented with that opportunity? Which road would you take? Would you take the money? Would you go for a company? Would you start your own promotion in the end? What would happen? But with that, we appreciate.
Sounds like we're at a crossroads.
We appreciate you listening to today's episode, and with that, we bid you adieu.
Gotta mollywop them.
Today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also, connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for The Bookers Alliance on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X.